And this is the part that I get emotional because I really loved your children. They were all so sweet. They would come in and I watched them over time grow up and get married. And I'll tell you, I felt like the black sheep, no pun intended. I felt like the black sheep aunt that got blocked out of the family.
Hi, friends. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is time to talk about Tell-All Gate, the Tell-All drama, the Tell-All issues, and the Tell-All mystery. Because in the off season, last season, McKelty Brown, Padron, she told people on her Patreon that the family, Cody specifically, had the right to fire people from the Tell-All. And Tell-All hosts recycled a lot of them because she said that if a Tell-All host asked a question that made people upset or Cody didn't like, that host could be terminated, which was why they had so many hosts over the years. It's why you never saw Natalie Morales after she did her interview with Cody and the crew after they wrote the book Becoming Sister Wives. That Tell-All, you can't find it. TLC has scrubbed it. It's where they confront Cody about shaming Christine for the Nacho Gate. It's where Natalie actually confronts Cody about being a womanizer based on things that he actually wrote in the book. There were different Tell-All hosts that were better than others. Tamron Hall was on it for years, and she actually, I like Tamron. I'm going to be honest. I think she's super kind. I think she's very empathetic. I think she's very curious. I think she has a sense of justice in her heart where she cares about what's happening to other people and she cares about if people are being hurt. She cares about people being treated well. And she always had this sense with me, at least with Cody, that she had a sense that maybe things were not as always the way that they seemed. And it was the ninth season, and she appeared in the season Tell-All. And this was the Tell-All where a few things occurred in that season. One, that's when the divorce became public, and it was when everyone found out that Meri and Cody had divorced. Also, it was when Cody and Robin fought with her ex about the adoption of the kids, Robin's children from her previous marriage. And it was also at the end of that Tell-All that right before the Tell-All was to film, it became public that Meri was being catfished by a woman who was pretending to be a man. And this woman was leaking all of these recorded voice memos that she had left or voicemails that she had left and email and photos. And it was pretty humiliating for Meri. And Meri, having grown up in a pretty sheltered environment and being exposed to the wider world of the internet and fame, I mean, I can see how she would have been in a very vulnerable spot to get caught up with these people. And so it was in the Tell-All that a few things came up that I would assume made Cody extremely uncomfortable and exposed things that Cody didn't want revealed. One of the issues that came up was Christine and Cody during that same season had gone to therapy and they had gone down to Galveston, Texas, and Christine and Cody's relationship was very fractured. And Christine spoke about jealousy and it was incredibly uncomfortable. And then Cody was basically told by or inquired by Tamron, like, if he was a failure and if he was failing at what he was doing because people were not having their needs met. Also, in the same Tell-All, she and Meri had to talk about the catfishing situation. And basically, it was revealed that Cody and Meri were very estranged at that point. And Tamron was asking Meri, like, what was missing in your life that this is what you had to go out and searching for? I think what Tamron was trying to figure out was Meri happy? Did she want a way out? Was she trying to find a way out? And Meri made comments in that Tell-All about how when people found out about the divorce between her and Cody, everyone was praising her that she had finally left Cody, cheering her on, cheering for her freedom. And Tamron, I don't think Tamron ever like so much so disapproved of the lifestyle, but I think she had a pretty good idea that these women were not happy. I think she could see through it. I think she could see through the charade of Cody. I think she did it in a respectful way, but I think she also tried to hold Cody accountable and force Cody to admit things. And the point of the show was that Cody and the family were going to be honest. And she, on that tell all, basically exposed that they hadn't been honest about the jealousy issues. They hadn't been honest about Cody not spending the time appropriately, like his quote unquote schedule. And also, uh, confronting him about, like, did he basically abandon Meri after the divorce? And is this why the catfishing thing happened? And that episode ended with Meri pretty upset and Cody upset, and not upset with Tamron, I should say, but just like upset, right? Because it was an uncomfortable conversation. And she was never seen again. Okay. And so for years, apparently, Tamron didn't understand why she had been cut off from the family. And she actually is going to be appearing on the show today. And in a preview, which I showed you at the beginning, she said that she felt like she had been shunned basically by the family. Like she hosted the family for a very long time. And then she hosted the show on Sister Wives for a very long time. And then it was like she had been blocked. Like she was the black sheep because she couldn't speak to anybody in the family anymore. And then today on her Instagram, Tamron further gave a little bit more clarity about her interview with Meri.
Exclusive, actually 2 exclusives. A big one that hits close to my heart. Many years I hosted the Sister Wives reunion show. And then suddenly I no longer hosted the show. After years of asking her to come on this show, Meri Brown says she is ready. And not only is she ready to talk with me about the Sister Wives reunion, she's ready to talk about why she has finally decided to end her marriage with Cody Brown.
Did you hear that? She said for years I was the host of the show, and then suddenly I was no longer the host. Like it wasn't something that she knew was going to happen, right? She was fired. And right now they have a new host, Suki, who's been on for like 3 or 4, maybe 5 seasons at this point. And if she does something that upsets Cody, she could get fired too. But she says that she's been trying to get Meri on the show for years and she's always said no, but she's finally ready to come on. And so a couple days ago when I was like Meri's on her revenge tour, I think this speaks to the fact of what I know about the family. And I can give you some insight from other people that have been in a similar position as Tamron. I don't know Tamron at all. I don't know what happened here, but I do know that other people that have been involved with the family, family, friends, and people that were outside of polygamy that really cared about the women and wanted to get them out of the oppressive and abusive environment were shunned by the family, blocked, and there was like they were deemed unsafe. So what would happen is someone would kind of figure out what was going on. They would get a clue that someone might be unhappy. They would probe, maybe ask questions about if they were wanting to stay or not stay, offering resources, whatever it was. And if Cody would ever find out about that, he would make them block that person. Or suddenly they were no longer going to be posting on social media, or suddenly they were ghosting their friends that they had been friends with for years when someone found out a piece of their life that was the truth and that sort of threatened what was happening with the narrative of the show. And I will say this, that I'm sure it was probably painful for Tamron because she wasn't doing harm to them. She wasn't hurting them. She only cared. And honestly, the last tell all was really her just asking a lot of questions very pointedly to Meri about what she was going through because this was the catfishing. This is after the divorce. This is, Cody and Robin just get newly married. They adopt the kids. It's like that was the moment where I think she could sense that the family dynamic was irrevocably altered. There was no going back. And she saw that writing on the wall. And I think she just offered encouragement to Meri, right? Well, anyone that offers encouragement to the women or speaks out against polygamy or suggests that they're not happy, they don't need to stay in an unhappy situation, are deemed unsafe. And so in the preview clip that she showed, she said that she was blocked. Blocked. Like, she would watch the kids get married, she would watch what was happening in their lives. She enjoyed getting to know the family, and it was like she could no longer associate with them. And this is something that these women did to other people, not just Tamron. And there are still people that have been blocked by them that, like Tamron, simply cared, right? Cared about the women, cared about their well being, wanted them to be happy, wanted them to realize they didn't have to stay in an unhappy situation. And those people haven't reunited with anyone. And what I will say about this for Meri is I know she gets a lot of backlash. I know that some of the kids have alleged allegations of abuse against her. I don't condone that, right? You know, I don't support that. But I will also say that the people that have and know Meri personally have said that she has done a lot of work in her life and she's really evolved in her thinking, beliefs that she once held, she doesn't hold anymore. After she and Cody divorced, she began embracing life, different people that would have been deemed like she couldn't associate with, right? Like when she was in the cult, she never would have been able to have a friend that was gay or a friend that was black or a male friend, right? Or be exposed to people of different religions, be exposed to people of different ethnicities, be exposed to different sexualities. And she was one of the first in the family that really, because their child, Leon, first came out as gay and has now transitioned, was supportive of that, very supportive of that. Ride or die. And when Cody and Robin didn't accept Leon, that was really the end for Meri. I don't know if Meri's ever going to say that publicly because Leon doesn't want Meri to talk about them publicly, and Meri respects their privacy now. And I think that's wonderful of Meri to do that. So, but Meri, with her willingness to do things that are uncomfortable, has gone places that may or may not have been considered safe. So she did a podcast with Rachel Yucatil, who has the Misunderstood podcast. I've actually spoken to Rachel several times. She's really sweet. And I was supposed to do a collab with her, and I just got so busy. But she did the podcast with Rachel, and that was very outside of the norm for Meri. Rachel's experience in life is very different than Meri's. And there's nothing wrong with Rachel, by the way. I'm just saying, like, going to a place like to Rachel's podcast would be really outside the norm, right? For anyone in that show. And Meri went there, right? She's done interviews in places that I think others in the family would not do. And she's kind of breaking some of that hold that Cody had over her. And so with this choice, I think I told you a couple days ago that this is really a signal for Meri to one, she's coming back to Tamron because Tamron was in their lives. Tamron was there right at the moment the family was breaking apart. She saw what was happening and then she was pushed out. And now when Tamron says she's finally going to talk about why she left Cody, it's because I think Tamron would have liked to have that conversation in 2015. And now it's like, okay, you're finally done. Let's talk now, right? Now, I don't know what Meri's going to say, but what I will tell you is that what saddens me for the women is that Cody does 100% when they were all together. He had a lot of control over who they communicated with and who they didn't, who they deemed safe and who they didn't deem safe. And Cody was very strict about who they spoke to, who they saw, what they did. And the reason why Meri was ostracized from them for such a long time was partially because she stopped obeying Cody's rules and that she started having a life outside of the family. And there was the one part of Meri that stayed loyal on the show and like kept the secrets, but then there was this other part of Meri that like was ostracized from the family because she wasn't following the rules internally, I guess is what you should say. So for Meri to go back there and have this conversation now is really, I would say, monumental for her. And I think if I could put any kind of like equivalency here, this to me would be like Christine reuniting with her aunt Kristen, right? So Meri had Tamron kind of there, sort of like nurturing and saying like, "Are you okay? Is this what you want? Like, what were you missing?" Trying to like stick up for Meri to Cody, and kind of equally, Kristen was sort of the same with her niece, Christine. And Kristen in the season 6 when they went to UCLA basically was like talking about how, the men often will treat women, how she felt suicidal when her husband took another wife, how all she wanted was to just sort of scoop Christine up and tell her that she could have a life outside of this. She wanted Christine to really experience love and have that love. And she just like wanted Christine to know that she wasn't fighting the family. She wasn't fighting against the family. She was really fighting for their happiness, because she knew that if they got to the other side, she would be able to see what she was seeing. And now Christine is seeing what Kristen was telling her, and she found love and she's finding happiness. And yet, to this day, she hasn't reconnected with Kristen. And I understand with Kristen, was part of lawsuits. She advocated for victims. She was going to testify in a case that Cody was going to testify in. She went toe to toe because Kristen really cared about those women, and she wanted those women to know that someone was fighting for them. And she was really portrayed as the outsider and as the villain, much like I'm sure Tamron was blocked for the same reasons. So Meri doing this is amazing. And I would be like elated to see Christine do something like this with her aunt. It's probably wishful thinking, but you know what I mean? Like, so I'm really proud of Meri. I get emotional. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, you guys, but I'm emotional because I feel like um it's hard. It's hard to go places where you were told it was unsafe, and like that person wasn't safe, and like that person wasn't, you know, good and harmful, and they were going to hurt your family, and then to go back and confront that person after the fact, and not even confront them but talk with them and what was going on. And that's good. That's amazing. It's like confronting your fear and realizing that Tamron's not the problem. But Cody, like forcing his wives to like block women that truly cared about them and wanted the best for them, and making those women the evil ones when he was the one that was hurting them. That's such an evil thing to do. So I'm glad that Tamron is speaking up about it, honestly. She deserves to. So her episode airs today. You'll have to check your local listings. I don't have it in my area, but let me know what your thoughts are. And make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.